Good morning, everyone. Today we will be exploring a fascinating and crucial stage of human development, which is the stage of late childhood. But before we start, let me introduce the group 5 members. First, Miss Carbonell. Second, Miss Co, Miss Soleta, Miss Matutina, Miss Glorioso, Mr. Abulancia, Miss Esteta, and truly yours, Miss Hernandez. To motivate us before the discussion, join me in this activity entitled Find the Scene. What do we need to do? You need to read and engage with the movie entitled Turning Red by identifying scenes based on description. For each item, you'll see a context description from the movie. Your task is to select the correct picture of scenario. You can choose yellow or red scene from the two shown that best match the description. The first item, who wants to answer? May's heart was fluttered when she saw his crush and she started to fantasize. Yes, Miss Soleta?
Yellow box po.
That's right, it is the yellow scene. Next item is May went to Four Towns concert with her friends. What is the answer? Who wants to answer? Yes, Miss Carbonell?
Red box po.
Yes, you're right. Very good. Next item, please. Number three is May's rebellion against her mom's show. She wants more independence and freedom to do things her way. What is the answer? Yes, Matutina.
Yellow box po.
Yan, very good. It's yellow box. Next item. Keep this with you, May, just in case. It's a part of growing up and it's nothing to be afraid of. What is the answer? Yes, Miss Ko.
Yellow box po.
Yes, very good. It's yellow box. For the last item, this is me. I'm not your little Mimi anymore. I lied, Mom. What is the answer? Yes, Miss Esteta.
Red box po.
Yes, you're right. All of you got the correct answer. Great job, everyone. Thank you for your participation. Now, let us move forward to discover our today's discussion. What happens during late childhood? Next slide, please. Late childhood, typically ranging from ages 9 through 12, is a crucial period in human development because children in this stage ay nakakaranas na ng pagbabago hindi lamang sa kanilang pisikal na katawan kundi maging sa kanilang cognitive kasi nasa puberty or preteen stage na sila. During puberty, changes start when the brain triggers the production of sex hormones, which can happen to both girls and boys. This stage serves as a bridge between early childhood and adolescence, marking a time of growing up, independence, self awareness, and skills development. Through this discussion, we aim to highlight the key aspects of late childhood, including its developmental milestone in physical and cognitive, the challenges and the roles of caregivers, educator, and peers in shaping this crucial phase of growth. Now, let us proceed to the physical development or physical changes that happen to children during this stage. Next slide, please. Ayan. During this stage, boys can experience voice tipping, genital development which is mas lumalaki na unti-unti nang lumalaki at nagkakaroon ng pagbabago bilang handa sa adolescence. Facial and body hairs kung saan nasisimulang tumubo ang balbas, bigote at buhok sa iba't ibang bahagi ng katawan bilang epekto ng testosterone. Sa girls naman is nagkakaroon ng breast development kung saan mas lumalaki na yung dibdib nila at syempre nakakaranas sila ng menstruation kung saan nangyayari ito monthly sa isang babae. At uli is body shape. Ang paglaki ng dibdib ay isang pangunahing sinyalis ng pagbabago ng body shape kung saan ang katawan ng babae mas nagiging curvy or kadalasan ay may kinalaman sa paglaki ng hips or thighs. Para naman sa pareho is nagbabago ang weight, yung timbang, mas bumibilis ang paglaki, height, ganun din sa height, mas bumibilis ito. At sa muscle development, ang mga kalamnan ay nagkakaroon ng mas malinaw na anyo at mas lumalakas bilang bahagi ng normal na paglaki. Sa pangkalahatan, sa late childhood, ang pisikal na pagbabago ay nagmumula sa pag-activate ng hormones na nagdadala ng mga pagbabago sa katawan. Mahalaga ang pag-unawa rito upang gabayan ang mga bata na makapag-adjust sa kanilang mga pagbabagong nararanasan sa pisikal man o sa ibang aspeto. Para sa susunod na talakayan, let me call Miss Ko.
Now, as we dive deeper into the late childhood stage, we'll focus now on one of its most important aspects, the cognitive development. At this stage, ang isipan ng mga bata ay may hahalin tulad natin nga sa mga sponges na kung saan they try to navigate, explore, and observe new knowledge as they begin to make sense of the world in deeper and more meaningful ways. Dito nga nagsisimula silang mag-develop ng kanilang logical reasoning, problem-solving abilities, and a sense of curiosity that will shape their understanding of the world. Kung saan ang mga pagbabagong ito ay mahalaga hindi lamang sa kanilang pag-aaral kundi pati na rin sa kanilang pang-araw-araw na buhay. Gaya nga ng sinabi ni John Piaget, isang kilalang developmental psychologist, it is with the children that we have the best chance of studying the development of logical knowledge, mathematical knowledge, physical knowledge, and faith. This quote perfectly highlights the potential of children for growth and discovery during the late childhood stage na mas pag-aaralan pa natin sa araw na ito. Since children in this stage are already in their late childhood, kapansin-pansin ang mabilis na development ng kanilang mental skills or abilities. However, it's important to note that children progress at different rates, and this is completely normal. Now, take a look at these pictures. On the left side, makikita natin ang mga batang nag-aaral ng robotics, a skill that requires advanced problem solving and critical thinking, in which pinapakita nito na these children are exhibiting advanced development in cognitive and technical skills, which is an excellent reflection of how some kids excel in specialized areas early on. On the other side naman, makikita natin ang mga batang nagbabasa ng libro. Inilalarawan nito na those who are developing at a steady typical pace kung saan they focus more on foundational skills like comprehension and vocabulary. Both types of development are valid and equally important. Ang bawat bata ay may kanya-kanyang oras for growth, and what matters is that they're supported in a way that encourages their potential, maging ito man ay mas advanced skills or mastering the basics. Ngayon na napag-usapan natin how children in the late childhood stage begin to develop more advanced cognitive skills, let's dive deeper into initial cognitive characteristics. Sa bahaging ito ng ating talakayan, we'll focus on the early cognitive traits na lumalabas during this phase. Mahalaga ang mga katangiang ito sa paraan on how children begin to think, reason, and understand the world around them. As we look into these characteristics, mauunawaan natin kung paano nga ba ito nagsisilbing building blocks or foundation for more complex cognitive abilities that will continue to evolve sa kanilang paglaki. Now, ang mga bata nga sa intermediate school begin to experience ang malaking pagbabago sa kanilang cognitive development. At this stage, nagiging mas malalim at mas komplikado ang kanilang mga mental abilities. In their earlier years of schooling, karamihan sa kanilang mga gawain at problema were simple and part of their daily routine. However, in intermediate school, they start to think more logically and systematically. Kung titignan natin ang mga pictures, we can see different reactions from the children as they engage in their learning. One child seems confused na nagpapakita ng mga pagkakataon kung saan ang mga bata ay nahihirapan kapag nahaharap sa mga bago o komplikadong concepts. Another child naman appears to be confident na nagpapakita na habang lumalaki ang kanilang cognitive abilities, they are able to apply their learning with more ease. Meanwhile, other children in the picture are eager to learn na nagpapakita ng growing excitement and curiosity nila when they begin to understand the world in a more logical and organized way. Now, the initial cognitive characteristics na lumalabas at this stage ay mahalaga dahil nagsisilbi itong foundation for more complex skills they will learn in the next stages of their lives. During this phase, nagsisimula nilang maunawaan ang mga concepts related to reading, analyzing information, and problem solving. For example, the texts they read now are longer, so they learn to focus and observe more information. Problem-solving exercises are no longer rare, but become a regular part of their schoolwork and even their everyday lives. As teachers, mahalaga na maunawaan natin ang mga pagbabagong ito sa cognitive changes ng mga bata. By understanding these initial cognitive characteristics at this stage, we can help guide them through their transition to more advanced thinking skills and more complicated problems they will encounter sa mga darating pang panahon. Now, at this stage, children begin to develop the ability to use logic and reasoning na nagbibigay daan upang mag-isip sila tungkol sa kanilang mga nais at kung paano nila ito makakamtan. As a result, they become very interested in discussing the future and even exploring ang kanilang mga potential careers. They start to develop special interests such as collections, hobbies, and sports na nagpapakita ng kanilang growing curiosity and desire to learn about things that align with their personal passions. This interest isn't limited to activities that require physical involvement, kundi pati na rin sa mga concepts without having direct hands-on experiences. For example, maaari nilang maintindihan ang mga abstract na ideas at concepts kahit hindi nila ito nararanasan ng personal. This ability to think more deeply and plan for their future is an important aspect ng kanilang cognitive development at nagsisilbing pundasyon para sa mas advanced skills they will continue to develop in the coming years. Now that we've covered the general cognitive development in late childhood, we'll move on to some of the initial cognitive characteristics na may malaking epekto sa pagkatuto at paglago ng mga bata. These characteristics include reading development, attention, creativity, the impact of media, and aggression. Moving on to share how these factors contribute to cognitive development during late childhood stage, I will now pass the discussion to Ms. Soleta.
And in this part, we will tackle turning pages, nurturing reading skills in late childhood. So, what is reading? Reading is the process of interpreting written or printed text to understand its meaning and also recognizing words in the way they make the sound of the letters, and to understand the meaning of ideas within the text. So why is connected the reading development to late childhood? It is because sa age nila na 9 to 12 years old is they can already read. Pero di lang sila basta natututo magbasa, they also read to learn. Late childhood sees a surge in vocabulary due to exposure to new words through books, conversations, and academic subjects. That's why these sila more on fairy tale stories. They enjoy more reading complex and independent reading abilities. Like, for example, if you know ni Ana Guerrero, yung younger sister niya na si Natalia, is during her 10th birthday, niregaluhan siya ng book titled Charlotte's Web, which maka-help daw to add new words in her vocabulary because It's about diversity. Anyways, here's the examples of books that late childhood kids can read and enjoy. First, first is chapter books designed for independent readers. These books have longer, more complex narratives and ang example ng chapter book is The Charlotte's Web by E.B. White. Second is graphic novels. Combining visuals with text, graphic novels are excellent for reluctant readers or those who enjoy a more visual storytelling approach. Example of this book is Amulet series by Kazu Kibushi. And third is adventure books. These genres captivate young readers with imaginative worlds and thrilling plots. Example of this book is The Hobbit by John Ronald Reuel Tolkien. Lastly is the fiction books. These books help expand knowledge on topics of interest such as science, history, and biographies. An example of this book is Anne of Green Gables by Lucy Maud Montgomery. And syempre, we need to consider when choosing books for our younger brother, sister, or cousin. First, when we choosing books, we need to consider age appropriate. Kailangan dapat yung bibilhin nating book is akma sa age nila para maiwasan yung content na hindi pwede sa age nila. Second is who is the child? Syempre, if bibili tayo ng books, is dapat nakaayon sa preference or characteristics ng pagbibigyan natin. Third is make a selection with the child in mind. Means carefully choosing books that are appropriate for the individual child's unique interests, abilities, and developmental needs rather than bumili ng kung ano yung popular. Lastly, choose books that encourage decision and insightful building. Ayan, syempre sa stage na late childhood is they read to learn. That's why we choose books promote critical thinking, problem solving, and reflection. And that's all in my part for reading development in late childhood. And for the next reporter, I will call Miss Carbonell.
Now we're going to tackle the significant changes in attention during late childhood. During this stage, which spans the ages of 9 to 12 years old, dito na-experience ng mga bata ang growth sa kanilang cognitive abilities, including their capacity to focus and sustain attention. These changes are very important sa kanila kasi dito sila na-prepare to handle ang mga pabigat na task, both in school and everyday life. Improve attention span. One of the key developments during late childhood is the improvement sa kanilang attention span. Sa ganitong edad ng mga bata, may mas focus sila sa mga task for much longer periods compared nung mas bata pa sila. This improvement is not only in terms of duration but also in flexibility. For example, children in this stage can shift their focus between tasks more effectively and adapt their level of attention based on the requirements of the situation. Task-dependent focus. Another significant change is that their attention becomes more task-dependent. This means their ability to focus is strongly influenced by the nature of the task. Kapag yung task sa kanila is more engaging, interesting, or challenging, these children in late childhood can concentrate for hours without losing focus. Siguro mapapansin din natin ito sa mga bata na kapag gusto talaga nilang ginagawa nila, hindi sila basta-basta mawawala ng focus doon. At makikita din natin na pinaglalaanan talaga nila ng oras yung ginagawa nila. However, if the task is repetitive or dull or lacks personal relevance, they may struggle to stay attentive. Kumbaga kapag paulit-ulit na lang or hindi sila interesado sa ginagawa nila, doon nawawala yung focus nila. Isang halimbawa nito ay kapag ang isang 10-year-old na binubuo niya isang Lego structure. They might spend hours sa pagbuo nun, sa pag-build nung Lego na yun. At minsan, pinag-eksperimentohan pa nila yung mismong structure or mismong design ng Lego. And nasosolve din nila yung problem sa pagbuo na yun, sa pagbuo ng Lego along the way. Yung focus nila nare-remain, intact yung focus nila sa paggawa na yun because yung activity na yun for them is enjoyable and also mentally stimulating for them. At makita niyo dyan sa picture, dyan sa taas, ayun yung example nun. Yung picture naman dyan sa baba, makikita natin na yung same child na 10-year-old, no, pwede siyang magkaroon ng difficulty staying attentive sa mga repetitive tasks. For example, na nakita natin dyan, pag-copy ng notes from sa klase, no? Kasi repetitive yun, di ba, pa ulit-ulit ng copy. Doon, andun yung possibility na maging bored sila doon sa ginagawa nila kasi hindi enjoying sa kanila or hindi rin mentally stimulating for them. So this difference highlights how much their level of interest and the task demands can impact their attention. Ang mga changes na ito sa attention ng bata during late childhood ay napaka-importante sa kanilang development. Dito natutunan ng mga bata kung paano i-manage ang increasing demands ng schoolwork, hobbies, at social interactions. Ang improvement sa kanilang attention span at focus ay nagsisilbing foundation para sa kanilang future skills tulad ng problem solving, time management, at independent learning. All in all, ang late childhood ay isang stage kung saan magkakaroon ng significant growth sa attention abilities ng bata. Ang pag-intindi sa pagbabago sa kanilang attention spans, nakatulong to sa mga parents, educators, also sa caregivers nila para makapag-create sa kanilang environment na nakaka-support mismo sa bata at na-encourage sa kanila na mag-thrive sa kanilang learning at daily activities. Now, let's have Mr. Abolencia for creativity.
So now, bago po ako magsimulang talakayin ang creativity under cognitive development, I want to share a meaningful quote by James Russell Lowell. Na kanyang sinabi na creativity is not the finding of a thing, but making something out of it after it is found. So this means that creativity isn't just about discovering new things. It's about what we do with those things once we find them. So for example, kapag nakakita ka ng isang cardboard box, you can turn it into a spaceship or even a robot. And marami pa tayong pwedeng gawin dito. So that's why it's about the transformation and innovation that happens kapag ginamit natin ang isang bagay na parang wala ng pakinabang o patapon na at gawin ito into something meaningful or useful. So alam nyo ba, ang mga bata are like little explorers. At this stage in their development, children are very curious and eager or excited sa pag-explore ng new things. Creativity is something they naturally have inside them, but they usually need a little help from their parents or teachers and those around them, dahil they will excel more kapag nakareceive sila ng guidance and support. Halaga ring tandaan natin that children usually do their best work when tasks are broken down into smaller or easier parts. So for instance, if they want to create a drawing, guiding them to focus on one part at a time can make it more enjoyable and less overwhelming. This approach not only makes the process less overwhelming, but also allows them to express their creativity in a way that feels comfortable and achievable. So encouraging creativity in children. So creativity in children grows or nade-develop when we create an environment or space where they can express their different ideas or responses. It's important to celebrate what makes each child unique and para hikayatin silang mag-isip outside the box. So for example, if they are working on a project, dapat nating hayaan silang gumamit ng material sa kakaibang paraan. Na dito sila nag-iisip at gumagawa ng sarili nilang strategies or designs, tulad ng paggamit ng mga recycled na bagay para sa art. So we should also aim to break stereotypes and challenge conventional thinking, allowing children to explore the ideas freely. So moreover, we should focus on the process of creating rather than just the final product. This way, nakakatulong tayo na mabawasan ng stress and anxiety or any pressure na maaari nilang maramdaman. Additionally, kapag po ang mga bata ay nagbahagi ng kanilang mga ideya sa isa't isa, not only with adults or like their parents or teachers, but also with their classmates or friends, that it builds a sense of community and collaboration. So lastly po, it is helpful to minimize competition and external rewards so they can engage in creative activities and enjoy creating just for the fun of it, not just for praise. So therefore, by nurturing these aspects, we can help children shine in their own creativity. So let's keep exploring and making wonderful things together. I'm now calling Miss Matutina to further discuss our topic.
Now, let's talk about how TV, games, and the internet can affect us in both good and not so good ways. First, media can help us learn new things. When you watch shows or play games that teach you about animals, space, or science, you can learn a lot of cool facts. It's like getting a mini lesson from the TV or the internet. Media also helps you understand others and how to make friends. TV shows and movies can teach us about different people and how to be kind. But sometimes what you see isn't real, so you have to remember that not everything shown is how things really happen in real life. Next, another important thing is learning about right and wrong. Some shows teach us to be nice, honest, and helpful, which is great. But sometimes media shows bad behavior or things that aren't good to do. So it's important to know what's right and make good choices. Watching shows with good language can help you speak better and learn new words. But if you only watch TV or play video games all day, it might make it harder to talk to people or practice your speaking skills with friends or family. Next, media can also help you understand your emotions. Some shows teach us how characters handle feeling sad or happy. But if you watch too many scary or sad things, it can make you feel worried or upset. Media can help you feel good about yourself too. Seeing people on TV who look happy and confident can make you feel confident too. But sometimes the media shows people who look perfect, isn't always real. It's important to know that everyone is unique and special, just like you. Finally, media, especially games, can help you with problem solving. Some games ask you to think and solve puzzles, which can be fun and help you become better at making decisions. But remember, spending too much time on media might stop you from solving problems in real life with your friends or family. So remember, media is really fun and can help us in many ways, like learning and solving problems. But it's important to watch it wisely and not too much. Balance is key. Make sure you have time for other things like reading, playing outside, and talking with family and friends. Now, I'd like to call on Miss Glorioso to share her part of the discussion.
Now, let's discuss how exposure to violent media affects children, particularly during late childhood, where ito na yung puberty or pa-adolescent stage na. Children in late childhood are starting to learn social norms, empathy, and conflict resolution, and to have practice managing it. In media aggression or violent media such as TV shows, movies, songs, video games, and other online content that are easily accessed on the internet can interfere with these lessons and increase aggressive behavior which can affect their social interaction. Okay, so for example, hitting, yelling, using weapons, and other aggressive behaviors that shouldn't be normalized in resolving conflicts, right? So often and unrestricted use of it can lead a child to start thinking that acting aggressively is normal or the right way to solve problems because they see it so often in the media. No one limits them. Lalo na yung mga bata at this stage and sa panahon ngayon, they can easily access no sa violent media through gadgets and different online platforms and the internet. Usually, yung ibang parents sinahayaan lang yung mga anak nila na ganun lang. But fortunately, may mga magulang pa rin na maingat talaga regarding sa screen time and content na napapanood or naririnig ng mga bata, which is tama. So, therefore, our child safety should always start at home para if nasa labas man sila, medyo mapapalagay tayo mga adults and parents that alam natin na aware sila and may alam sila kung ano yung tama at mali at kung ano yung mga dapat nilang gawin when it comes to that instances. Okay, so according to the Public Health Summit in 2000, the following are some of the negative results of media. First is worsening aggression, where exposure leads to increased aggressive behavior in children. Next is desensitization to violence, where children become less sensitive to real world violence and suffering. Third is violent worldview, where children may view the world as cruel and violent place or the dangerous place. Next is violent media encourages children to imitate aggressive behaviors. Children also might act out fighting or use weapons in their play after seeing violence in the media. Para mas maintindihan natin, meron akong dito mga examples. So, there's a study on aggression in 1960 called Albert Bandura's Bobo Doll Experiment that showed that children imitate aggressive behavior they see in the media. This imitation can extend to other situations affecting how they interact with peers and authority figures. In this experiment, it contains a video of an adult doing aggressive acts and the inflatable doll. After that, they gather children in a room with an inflatable doll similar to the video. And then based on the experiment, those child who watched the video mimic and acted out worse like what they watch on the video, no? Ginaya nila kung ano yung aggressive behavior na ginawa nung adult na yon dun sa Bobo doll. So that simply shows one example of effect of violent media. Next is another study where it tackles the impact of a gun in a media to child watching it. It is a 27 study showed that children ages 8 to 12 years old who watch movies with gun or weapon violence were more likely to engage in aggressive behavior and show increased interest in real firearms. This highlights how violent media, especially involving guns, encourages risky behavior. So it is important to limit a child's access to such media and to always check if its content is appropriate for their age. So there's also a research that shows that mere presence of a weapon can trigger aggression. When children are exposed to guns or weapons in the media, they are more likely to engage with weapons in real life, even if they know that they are toy guns. Like, diba, if you observe, even if you are a gun owner or not, adults when anger triggers them to resolve conflict, they use weapons such as guns and other violent weapons, which is nakakalungkot. Kaya mas maganda na habang bata pa lang o kaya at a young age, they are educated na about the proper use of it and the consequences an individual may face if ever na gamitin ito sa mali. Next is, for example, if a child watches a cartoon where characters are constantly fighting, they might think it's okay to act the same way when they are upset too. Okay, so violent media reinforces the idea that aggression is an acceptable way to resolve conflict. Children exposed to violent media often exhibit increased aggression leads to desensitization to violence. Ano nga ba yon? It is having difficulty empathizing with others and are more likely to engage in bullying. No, nanonormalize na nila, which is hindi naman dapat. And yung mga ganito is dapat naaagapan dahil if hindi, it will cause more trouble even at a young age. And possible na madala pa nila ito pati sa pagtanda. Dahil dyan, dito napapasok yung importance ng pagkakaroon ng role model ng bata, lalo na at this age. A role model na surely a child emulate right acts and guide them determining what is wrong and right behavior or acts. These role models can be their parents and teachers sa paanong paraan. For example, monitoring media consumption and choosing content that promotes positive behavior, which is na-discuss na kanina. Second is being selective with the media content appropriate for a child and discussing media violence. And the third is lessen their screen time and encourage them to do activities that foster empathy and emotional regulation, sports, educational activities, and conversations or collaborative acts. Okay, violent media exposure can lead to increased aggression, reduced empathy, and risky behavior in children. By being mindful of the content children consume and offering positive alternatives, parents and teachers can help mitigate these effects by discussing the difference between fiction and reality. Now, to discuss the socio-emotional development, let me call on Miss Esteta.
So after we understand the physical and cognitive development, we will now dive the socio-emotional development. So socio-emotional development is the process by which kids and adults learn to comprehend, communicate, and control their emotions as well as build and preserve healthy connections with others. In this part, it involves both yung social and emotional nila. Children's interactions with the outside world, relationships, and social situations are greatly influenced by their socio-emotional development. Socio-emotional development unfolds over time with specific milestones that occur at different stages of life. Nakapaloob sa socio-emotional development ang understanding the self-competence, self-identity, and self-concept. So as part of socio-emotional development is the involvement of self-competence. Self-competence refers to an individual's belief in their ability to effectively perform and achieve tasks, goals, or challenges across various domains of life, such as academic, social, and emotional. Kumbaga masasabing may confidence ang isang bata sa skills and abilities niya or overall capacity ng pag-succeed niya sa isang specific situation. So according to my research, these dimensions of social emotional competence do not evolve naturally. Numerous research studies shows that a relationship with a consistent, caring, and good adult who actively promotes the development of these dimensions is essential for a healthy social-emotional outcomes in young children. Kaya marapat lang na mag-create tayo ng environment in which children feel safe to express their emotions. Moving on to the self-identity. Self-identity refers to the understanding and perception an individual has of themselves, including dito yung personal characteristics, values, beliefs, roles, and the sense of who they are within the broader context of society. It is the concept of self that a person develops through reflection, experience, and interactions with others over time. So, a person's self-identity is not ecstatic. It is continually reshaped as one experiences and responds to various events and failures. It helps individual to answer the questions like who I am or ano ba yung importante sa akin. Mainam lang na habang bata pa ay nadadevelop na yung positive self-identity kasi it will help to build the self-confidence of a child and mas mafe-feel na yung value nila as a person. Even though many psychologists believe that one's self-identity is always evolving, the establishment of values early in life provides a person with a strong foundation on which to grow. Next is the self-concept. Self-concept is the way you think about yourself and how you define who you are. It is shaped by both internal factors and external factors. So yung internal factors, ito yung mga thoughts and feelings. And then yung external naman is yung feedback from others and experiences. Kaya sa picture na makikita nyo is may mirror because it is how you perceptions and attitude about oneself. It is referred as see oneself in terms of their skills, traits, connections, and sense of self. A person's self-concept includes their physical attributes, personality, social roles, and ability nila sa ibang tao at kung anong bagay ba yung unique sa kanila. If susuriin, self-competence is a person's sense of their abilities. Self-identity is a person's sense of who they are, and self-concept is a person's overall view of themselves. In conclusion, we can say that as a child gets older, there is always a development aspect and people grow throughout their lives. All in development in every aspect such as physical, cognitive, and social-emotional. The development of a child as they grow older is a natural, complex process that occurs in several stages and involves a combination of physical, cognitive, emotional, and social changes. These developments are influenced by both biological factors and environmental factors. Children learn more about the world, themselves, and their relationship as they mature because of their developing minds, bodies, and interactions with the outside world. So that's all for our discussion. Thank you for listening.
We are the Group 5, and that will be all for late childhood. Goodbye.